Okay, let's move this forward. So let's say he signs the franchise tender before the 17th of June or July, whatever the number was.
July.
Um, yeah, so July. So basically, he can go out there and negotiate with other teams. A lot of teams have already come out and said we're not interested in Lamar Jackson, which, by the way, I don't understand. Now, it could be something like the Browns did a couple of years ago, because a couple of years ago the Browns said they're not interested in Deshaun Watson, and then they traded for him. So it could just be just smoke. The teams are saying this now, but it seems like the Falcons are out on him. The Miami Dolphins are out on him. So if you had to guess right now, is there a certain team that could make a run at Lamar Jackson? And I know you got a pretty funny conspiracy theory here.
Jay, I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked that question. I think it's going to be the team across the Beltway, and I think it's going to be the Washington Commanders, because Dan Snyder, prior to all of the nonsense that has gone on in that franchise, has come to light over the last couple of years. He has had a penchant of doing that big contract to players like Albert Hainsworth and Champ Bailey and
Yeah.
Bruce Smith. He has no problem paying the extra money to get a marquee talent to his franchise. But the other thing, though, Jay, is let's say he does offer a fully guaranteed contract, and then within, let's say, 6 months, he sells the Washington Commanders. He's not
Yeah.
paying that contract anymore.
Yeah.
That's that new team.
Mhm.
So the
Yep.
ultimate bafangul to the
Mhm.
NFL on the way out the door, while he's potentially getting $7 billion from Jeff Bezos or whatever group is going to buy that team, is, hey, I gave out a fully guaranteed
Yeah.
contract.
Yep.
Adios, amigo. Insert a couple other acronyms here. Yeah, I think the Washington Commanders could totally do that. But also, like, let's say, like, Dan Snyder is not that petty, but we all know that he is. You have Lamar Jackson with a new offensive coordinator that he's been going to bat for a while and trying to get him a job, in Eric Bieniemy. And
Mhm.
let's say, like,
Yep.
maybe things don't work out at the start of the season. Ron Rivera might lose his job. They promote Eric Bieniemy to head coach. Now he's got the interim head coach, plays out the rest of the year, and then he's potentially the head coach the following season with Lamar Jackson. I don't think that's too far of a bridge to cross.
Yeah. And the Washington Commanders, they do have a solid roster. Like, I was looking at their weapons the other day for our preview later on about the NFC East. I mean, they've got Jahan Dotson, Terry McLaurin. Like, they've got some really good pieces to make it work with a good quarterback. Now, the Dan Snyder angle of this, I find it funny you brought that up, just because we've talked about this before. I truly believe the reason why this is so ugly for Lamar Jackson and the Ravens is, I believe that Steve Bisciotti, who is a seasoned, veteran of the NFL, is trying to take back the quarterback market. I mean, there's rumblings that a lot of these owners are not happy with where the quarterback market's going, because obviously that affects their bottom line. As the contracts get bigger, less money in their pocket, right? Simple math. But it seems that what the Browns owners did, the Haslam's, with Deshaun Watson, seems to really irk a lot of these owners the wrong way. Whether it's Jerry Jones, Robert Kraft, Steve Bisciotti, all these like hardened, grizzled veterans of the NFL, they're trying to take the quarterback market back, and it starts with Lamar Jackson. And imagine if on the way out, Dan Snyder gives them one final middle finger salute with a fully guaranteed contract. Because then it provides precedence, right? Because right now, Deshaun Watson is a single case in NFL history, first fully guaranteed contract. But now you got two of them, right? Now you've got a can of worms with every quarterback coming down the line, essentially wanting a guaranteed contract.
Yeah, you have. I mean, let's look down the road. You have Joe Burrow. You have Tua, you have Justin Herbert. Like, the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, this would be like the ultimate point. In business, they call it like the poison pill, where like the
Yeah.
shareholders like do whatever they can to make the stock of that company that the new person that's going to buy it make look as unappealing as humanly possible. That would be like a poison pill contract right there. And there's
Yeah.
there's nothing the league can do about it, because Dan Snyder is well within his right. If he has the cap space and he has the money he can put in escrow,
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's like the ultimate like nuclear option that Dan Snyder's always had in his back pocket of, oh, I'll make the owners pay type of deal if they really try to force me to sell this team. All right, you can force me to sell this team. Have fun having Jeff Bezos pay $50 million on a year annually for the
Yeah.
next 6 years. Oh,
Yeah.
oh
Yeah.
man, I would be here for it.
Yeah. Before we move on to Aaron Rodgers, we've got a comment from a Joe Rosillo. Just
Ah,
popped up on the screen
Pops.
there. He says,
Look
"Hey
at
yo."
that. First time, long time, friend of the podcast, Joe Russolillo. Glad you're in the chat. Glad you're enjoying this pod. Love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for listening and interacting, Joe.